Hi guys, Charlie here in Dubai, and today I'm going to take you through exactly how I made $100,000 per month in my online coaching business. First back when in the end of 2020. So for those who don't know me, I'm going to take you through my backstory because it's not exactly ideal in terms of becoming an online coach, and by no means am I a fitness influencer or particularly one of those degenerates. I would say is a fair way to put that. So to talk about my backstory and how I got to the point of having a fitness business, made $100,000 a month and first started being over that threshold 2.5-3 years ago. I actually started as an estate agent. So when I was 18, I qualified as a personal trainer. I was PTing in the first gym group in Guildford in Surrey, just outside of London. And if I'm honest, I failed. I fucking sucked. I was terrible at training. I was terrible getting clients. And I failed. I wasn't really making any money. I was making maybe £800 a month back then, 2008. So I actually went into ski season. So random fact, I'm a qualified ski instructor. I'm still pretty good even though I'm jacked. So I went and did that for 4 or 5 months, basically got pissed and was a bit of a retard and just had a really good time, had some great memories. And it was a good thing. I definitely should have done it. But then I came back. And I was like, the fuck am I going to do? It was like, I don't want to go and personal train people because I suck at it and don't really enjoy it. And I was like, what am I going to do from here? Now, the reality of what I did next is one of my best friends at the time got a job working as an estate agent. I was like, that seems like a good idea. He gets to wear a suit, he had a fancy car. I was like, cool, let's go and do that. So I actually applied for a job as a junior lettings consultant. My basic salary was £12,000 a year, which I make on that day now. And it was phenomenally fucking hard. So I got into the property industry through that. And if I'm honest, my first day, I was 90 minutes late and nearly quit then. And ironically, what actually happened, my partner at the time talked me into seeing the job through. And I actually kept going with it. And the reason I probably end up in the fitness industry is just because of that job. Because I met one lady, a lady called Lee Purcell, who was friends with at the branch I worked in, who was into competing in bodybuilding. And she got me into a gym called Physique Warehouse. Now, Physique Warehouse at the time was probably where a lot of beginner fitness influencers were actually coming from. So Mike Thurston actually started there, was there when he was in Kingston. There's another guy called Ross Dickerson, myself, my friend Chris Spearman. So we all were around there at the same time, and also has a little bubble of people who were doing online stuff back then. But what basically happened when I became an estate agent is that I worked there from 21 to 26, 27. And I still tried to get in shape, still like working out, still doing those things. And what happened is when I got to about 26, I was like, enough is enough. I want to get in really good shape. I want to take this seriously. So I got a coach. I asked for help. Stage 2, I did a photo shoot. I looked really good. I was very, very small. I was probably like 84 kilos. I'm 106 now to give some context. But I looked good. And what I started to do is I started documenting my journey. I was just posting on Instagram, posting stuff I was doing, and showcasing the skill of what I was learning. And then what happened? People asked me to help. And I first started coaching online, selling Word document PDFs, and they were £40 a month. And I can still remember like the first couple of clients who asked me for help. One was a girl, and she's, I can't remember what her name was now, but she was like 22, 23. I had a couple of like clients who were paying me like £40 a month. I was like, this is really, really good. And I was like, this is wild. I'm just making money from doing what I love. And essentially that then grew from there. And I realized that obviously the Word document PDFs wasn't an ideal way to do this. And this is why I can now and then speak from experience of I wasted a lot of time at the beginning, because that's exactly how you don't scale a business, is loads of manual shit. Like it took me maybe 45, 60 minutes to do one check-in. So long being short, I actually worked out that maybe this wasn't the best answer. I got a system called My PT Hub, which I would definitely not recommend using now, but at the time was the best thing available. And then I continued to grow my social media, posting, documenting what I was doing, being in really, really good shape. And then I actually came across paid shout-outs, Instagram shout-outs. And what I was doing is I'd start the money I'd making from the business, I'd reinvest to get basically promotions for my Instagram account. And that's how I grew a lot of my audience and got a lot of clients quite quickly, is via this paid promotion. Now, at that point, I was probably making maybe 3 to 5K a month. This, I guess, was maybe 2017-ish. And from then, I actually hired my first mentor. Now, my first mentor was actually Mark Coles. He's really, really good for beginners, and he helped me a lot. I really respected him back then. He helped a huge amount. And the first thing we did is we launched an 8-week transformation program called Shred and 8. If I look back now, it's probably the opposite, complete worst thing I could have done. I should have gone straight into high ticket space, but I'll explain what happened. I basically launched the Shred and 8 program. We built that up. I was doing, I got up to the point we had like 1,000 clients every 8 weeks, which is wild. We were charging 100 to 150 pounds for every 8 week session. And then I put it into a monthly recurring model after a while. And what was sick about it is that I'd open this worldwide, and whoever won the program, I would fly to and train. So I flew to Houston in Texas and trained a client who won our Shred and 8 program. I flew to Dublin in Ireland and trained a guy who won our Shred and 8 program, who actually became a fitness coach and worked for me for a while. And like, this was wild, and it was really growing my reputation. And it was also fun because the one thing I wanted at that time was just to travel the world. But you have to remember, at this point, I was also still working full-time as an estate agent. And at this point, I had actually grown to the point I was managing the branch of an estate agents. So if you imagine this, I'm like manager of a big branch of estate agents. I'm driving around doing like property valuations all day, also running my fitness business, also training like twice a day. I was also like constantly listening to Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk podcasts. So I want to learn about content and sales. I also hired a mentor. I was obsessed with learning, and nothing has really changed since then. And if I look at what I did with the Shred and 8 program, the reason the penny really dropped and I suddenly fucking exploded my business is this. Because I had a client who came to me on our Shred and 8 program, and he paid me a lot more. And I'll explain what happened. We basically, I had a friend of mine teach me some sales training, and I sold a guy for £500 for 8 weeks when I was sitting in Kingston upon Thames Starbucks. I was like, fuck. My head literally flew off. I was like, I can't believe this actually works. What happened next is 3 months later, I sold someone for £9,000 for 12 months. The guy came from my Shred and 8 program. He previously paid me £100 for 8 weeks. He now paid me £9,000 for a year. And this just shows the value discrepancy when you sell a low ticket program. Like, why the fuck am I going to do this thing with selling thousands of people at this cheap price point when I can just sell one person high price point? So I then started to transition into high ticket coaching. And that's when my business really started to grow. Now, fast forward a bit to February 25th, 2019, I left my full-time job. And this is the moment I got real freedom, right? So for anyone who works in real estate or estate agency in the UK, what I had there is if I gave my notice period, I would get paid basically half my salary for the month I gave my notice. So I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. So the day I got paid, I went in and got my stuff. I was like, I'm leaving. And I remember going home, and I remember my area manager calling me and being like, you have to come back. I was like, no, I don't. And that was the one moment I realized that I could literally do anything I want, achieve anything I want, as long as I back myself and work incredibly hard. I walked out on a salary of $100,000 a year to pursue this online fitness thing. Everyone thought I was fucking mental, but I did it. So that was then a big pivotal moment. That video is still on my Instagram. If you actually scroll back, I'll reshare it again. And what I did from then is I actually built a shed in my garden. And in this shed, which was my office, it was where I made my millions. And I look back now and I was like, this is the fucking good old days. But I used to get up and I'd fucking grind. And I remember going down into the shed and it was like -5, -6 outside. And it'd be the same temperature in there. So I'd have my little fucking Dyson fan blowing on me. I'd be sitting in there with a woolly hat, like fucking ski jacket on, like fucking making funnels and like doing marketing stuff, right? Same thing in the summer. It had a flat roof on it. So it was like 40 degrees in there. My MacBook would overheat. So I'd have to go and sit in the fucking house and work. And these are things which obviously aren't ideal, but I look back and it's funny hindsight. So at that point, I built the shed. I then grinded for 12 months. And then the following January, I went to the US to Funnel Hacking Live and my first in-person mastermind event. And for me, that blew out of the water a lot of fucking limiting beliefs. Because at that point, I was maybe making about 25, 30K a month. I remember bowling in with my Louis Vuitton scarf thinking I was fucking Billy Big Nuts. Ironic now. And then, so people who listen to this, you can probably resonate with that. And I remember going in and I was like, holy fucking shit, there's a lot of people who earn a lot better, more money than me. And I remember meeting one of my best friends now, Frank Denblank, who's actually speaking at our event in Dubai in a week or two. And he was doing like $1 million or $2 million a month. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, my mind was perplexed that number was even possible. And that broke the ceiling in my mind of what's possible and just took me to another level. And that is a huge thing people need to understand. It's like you going to events and meeting people, when you physically can see someone like that fucking human being is making $1 million a month from online coaching, I can do it. Because if he can do it, you can do it. And that is where you just need to remove like the glass ceiling and putting above your head. And that really, really helped me. The other thing I also did is I went to Funnel Hacking Live, and that just showed me how big the online entrepreneurial space is in terms of people looking to grow their business. It's fucking vast. And this is where we still are in a blue ocean with not a lot of people who are actually good at doing this. And if you're a fitness coach and you have a passion you want to turn it to profit, you can do that. You just need to learn how. And that's really what happened, what I focused on. Now, the next story is interesting. Everyone will remember the springtime when COVID happened. Now, this was a true story. I was on a flight to Canada, mid-air. I land in Canada and my phone is going ballistic. The Canadian border had closed because of COVID. Canada was shutting down. I managed to bullshit my way through, and I'd actually flown with my video for Lewis, who's editing this. I managed to bullshit my way through immigration, and we got to basically Jasper where my friend was staying. We went skiing for one day, and then like international air travel was closing, talking about not being able to fly for 6 months, and then I flew back. So I went to Canada, went skiing for one day, closed all the resorts, and then I flew back. When I got home, I was like, this shit is like real. And this is like at this point, no one knew what the fuck was going on, right? Like, I was a young guy, had a business, online coaching people. I was like, no one's gonna have any money, everyone's losing their jobs. I'm like, I'm fucking screwed. So I was like, this is gonna be an interesting time. And what actually happened that I didn't realize is that was the best thing that could ever happen to online coaching, and also the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because it really pushed me to develop as a skill and also caused me to focus on the business. Now, what actually happened from that is we started to obviously have to make a lot of bullshit home workouts. Anyone who's back in that period will remember that painfulness. But what we actually did is we started to scale a lot, to the point where I actually built my own sales team, a business called Closing Force with a friend in Mexico called Jack. And that actually started because I was like, I need someone to help me take some of these sales calls. I was like, cool. So I was like, who's good at sales? So my friend Jack is in Mexico, tourism's closed. He works in timeshares. He'll understand sales. He'll be good. So I called him. He was like, I don't really want to do it, but I know a guy. And then we started to build a team out. And that's when I started to build the foundations in for my business to scale. At the same time, I hired my second mentor, who was a guy called Vince Del Monte, and my friend Frank. And I started with them and I just implemented like an autistic retard, like the point where I'd be given something to do, I've done it the next day. And the favorite saying actually from another one of my mentors is Craig Ballantyne: success loves speed. You need to do things quickly and implement them quickly to see results. And with the new strategies I'd implemented, with the sales team I'd built, with my content scaling, we started to take off. And I literally that summer grinded every day, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. I was learning to build funnels. I was learning to write copy. I was learning email marketing. I was learning to edit YouTube videos. I was learning to make content. I was mastering sales, hiring VAs, training people. Like, no one was doing this shit back then. And I had to learn how to do all the basic skills. I then learned how to optimize and run Facebook ads. I joined a mastermind for that. And this is when we started to hit the gas, because what I was doing, no one was really running ads when COVID was happening because everyone was shitting their pants. So I started to run ads. There was a system back then called Direct Heroes, and we were basically running messenger ads to like an automated messenger bot, and we were getting leads for maybe like £1, and which is like insane, like in the UK, US, like good quality ones. And people weren't used to so much messenger ads then, and our business just took off. To the point where like I was begging our coaches to take on more clients, and I actually hired 7 coaches in 1 week. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. And again, one of the reasons I often tell coaches when we work with them in a mastermind 7-figure scaling systems is a lot of times what we teach you to do is important, but what we teach you not to do is even more important. So when it comes to building a team, you need to find the right people. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself in a lot of problems, which we actually started to by bringing on people too quick. Now, fast forward 3 months after that, it's probably 6 months after COVID, we hit our first 100K month and consistently went onwards and upwards from there. And I actually lost my mind. And the reality with that was that like, I never believed that was possible. When I was 21, my goal at 30 was to make $100,000 a year, £100,000 a year. I was now doing that a month consistently over and over and over again. And in summary, all of the working hard and all of the sacrifice and all the things I'd learned were starting to compound. I'd taken a lot of risks, but all these things were starting to work for me. And why this was working was because I literally just didn't stop. I had a relentless mindset, a relentless attitude to learn and to be the best and be the most authentic version of myself in terms of helping other people in their fitness journey, like I am now in terms of helping other people in my business journey, in terms of helping other people scale their businesses. Like to date, I've spent over $250,000 on mentorships, masterminds, my own self-development, and just learning to the point where like there is nothing you can ask me about running an online fitness business that I do not know the answer for, because I've done it, I've seen it, I've tested it. If it works, I scaled it. If it doesn't work, I cut it off. And one of the most important things for you to understand when it comes to growing your business is there's one way and there's another way. There's the hard way and there's the much harder way. The hard way is you get someone who's done the thing before you to literally show you how to do it. The much harder way is you try and figure it out yourself. Now, I didn't have the luxury of having someone like myself to learn from. And very much what I do now is I am becoming and creating the program and created the program I want now for me 3 to 5 years ago, what I needed. And that's exactly what we do in 7 Figure Scaling Systems, is teach you how to grow your business from 5 to 10 to 50 to 100K to 200K per month onwards. So you can have financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. And this is what I'm going to document on the channel, is exactly how to do this. And if you want one-to-one help in terms of how to blow up your fitness business and to get to levels you're making $100,000 a month, I've been doing this for the last 3-4 years, then I can help you. If you hit the link below, you can book in a free call to find out exactly how we can help you. I've also got our free 4C lead generation course that will help you in terms of generating leads on autopilot from organic traffic. If this video was helpful, smash the like button. If you comment below any questions, I'll personally answer them. And if you subscribe to the video, it would mean a huge amount. And we'll see you next video very soon.